Trussville has a new police chief, and he's joining us today. And a new grocery store in downtown Trussville? Maybe. Tribune Unscripted starts now. Welcome back, everybody. It's Thursday. Thanks for joining us for Tribune Unscripted. I'm Brandon Dawkins with Tribune Digital Media, here with Scott Buttram, publisher of the Trussville Tribune. You know, Trussville has a new mayor. I mean, still newish now.
Newish.
He has been very busy. He's had a lot of announcements. There's been a lot of changes, but I would definitely say that probably one of the most important things on his to-do list as he came in ended up being filling the position for Trussville Chief of Police.
He did. Former Chief Eric Rush retired shortly after Ben took office, and it's been a process to get to the point that we had an interim, and everybody knew him. Dave Moret, been around for a long time, but that's become permanent, and it's exciting for a lot of people in this town.
That is. Okay. Well, we have Dave with us today, and so Chief Moret, thanks for being here with us today. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Where do you want to start?
Well, Chief, let's start with probably one of the issues that is facing every police department across Alabama over the last few years, which is recruiting officers and the competition for all that. You step in to the chief's role, but it's not as if you haven't been involved with this part of operations at Trussville Police for a long time. Where do we currently stand on staffing?
Yeah, that's a good question. So on staffing, we're pretty good right now. We are trying to hire, hopefully 2 right now. We did open up the application process about 2 weeks ago. We've had a lot of applicants that applied. I think we got close to 22 or 23 at the moment. We do have one in the academy. What we found in the past, like if you get 20 candidates, you're hopefully can get 1 or 2 out of that selection process, believe it or not. But yes, the recruitment and retention has gotten very competitive for sure with these other surrounding agencies. So that's something we keep an eye on and try to keep a step above our competition, so to speak.
Kind of staying with that, if you just last week, Governor Ivey signed into law a new personnel bill for the city of Trussville that allows us to set up our own personnel department. We've kind of had one for several years now, but this means the applicants will start coming through the Trussville Personnel Board as opposed to you kind of having to wait on Jefferson County Personnel Board. What kind of difference do you think that will make in the hiring process and the quality of applicants?
Well, I think it makes a huge difference. We're using NeoGov now, but I think it makes a huge difference because people are applying that want to work at Trussville. So it gives us a bigger pool of applicants and hopefully a broader pool to pick from. So we see nothing but a benefit from it for sure.
Okay.
Chief, hang on, I just lost my question. It'll come back. Hang on. Oh, any changes? I mean, like, do you feel like everything's right where it needs to be and you're taking over a steady ship, or had you already kind of in the interim process identified some things that you wanted to address?
Well, I think anytime leadership change hands, there's going to be things that are done differently. Not saying anything was that majorly need to be corrected. Yeah. But there's some things that we'll be doing different. Nothing major, nothing that citizens will see. I think our mine and Chief Rush's philosophy on policing is pretty close to the same. So as far as the services that we're going to provide to the citizens of Trussville, shouldn't look really any different. But there will be some small internal stuff that just naturally happen through different leadership.
Okay. How do you want people in Trussville to feel about the police department?
Good. No, it's important that we have a good communication and trust with the citizens. I want them to be able to feel like that we're available and that we're available to address their concerns and talk about issues they may be having or problems they're having in their neighborhoods or what have you. So just be accessible and be available and know that we're here to serve them.
Okay.
Chief, as you've been in Trussville 25 years now, or maybe a little longer than that. Do you see anything, and I don't know if I'm even talking about Trussville specifically that much with this question, but do you see any shifts in law enforcement that concern you locally, nationally, at any level? And if so, what are they?
Oh, there's definitely been some shifts since I started anyway. Some for the better, some not so much for the better. But I think the I'll just say back in early 2000s when I started in 1999, the respect for the job or the badge or for law enforcement was a lot higher. Now it seems like some people can just kind of feel like they can do or say whatever they want to officers, which is not good. But overall, I think the job kind of remains the same. And we have technology now that makes it a lot better as far as body cameras and stuff that really allows people to see what's actually happening or what had happened. So that's, in my opinion, a benefit to us. So I think the changes altogether have been positive. So you've been with Trussville, we were talking about it before the show started, more than 25 years. You and I are pretty close to the same age. And so I know what Trussville looked like when you started and what it looks like today. Is it kind of funny to think about like the department you came into versus the department you have to lead now in the city that Trussville is now? Yeah, funny is probably a good word for it. It's definitely changed. I remember when, obviously where Target is and all that was a driving range when I started here, or it used to be a driving range. I don't think it was even active at that time, and Walmart was just a big hole in the ground, and so there's been a lot of changes for sure, and with that growth becomes more challenges, of course, but I feel like it's all changed for the better. I feel like every administration that's been over the city as far as controlling growth and what's been allowed to come in or not has been very, very good the way they've done that, which has helped with the overall livability of the city for sure.
I've wondered about this a lot, Chief, and I'm kind of wondering how you guys address it. I think we've always had a mayor. In the 25 years I've been in Trussville, we've always had a mayor and council that was extremely supportive of our police and fire departments, our first responders, and seemed willing to fund them. But as I try to explain Trussville to people who aren't from around here, I've always said, well, it's a town of about 25,000, but we have to have a police department that can protect about 250,000 that come in here to shop every day. If we don't, they're going to quit coming here to shop. So how do you manage a department that has to be big enough to cover huge numbers during the day when all these stores and malls and shopping centers are open, yet at night we kind of go back to being a town of 25, 27,000? How do you manage that?
Well, the biggest thing on that was just with staffing. Obviously during the daytime hours when we have people out shopping and doing the things you're talking about, we have more people on patrol or on duty. At night shift, it's not much, but a little bit less numbers of personnel that are on patrol. So it's just a matter of managing basically just what you said, the times where everything's going on. You have more officers present and ready to answer calls, and versus when it's a little bit quieter, just have the fewer personnel on duty. So just basically just managing the time of day that you have your people out. I've
kind of got to feel like y'all figured it out. It is very difficult to go to any major shopping area in Trussville without seeing a police unit visible somewhere. And if you don't see one, it won't be but a minute, you will. So y'all have done a pretty good job balancing that and maintaining visibility in my book.
Good. That's good to hear.
Well, Chief, you know that anytime you have something you need to come on and tell people we're here, we're available for you. So you just let us know, and we just appreciate you being here today.
Yeah, I appreciate the invite.
Hey, I've got one more question. Are you going to leave Lieutenant Reiner as PIO?
I think so.
I mean, geez, put him on the spot.
Well, I'm asking.
What if it had a change in mind?
Clint answers his phone 24/7. That is the most valuable asset we have. Yeah, well, I'm trying to make sure Clint doesn't have that choice. So if we can work that out. He has been great with us. So I'm pleased to hear he'll be continuing in that role.
Yeah, he's done a great job. So that means that he'll probably keep that.
Good. Glad to hear it. Congratulations, Dave.
Yeah.
We're proud of you. And I'm going to just tell you before we let you go, we've had, I think, 3 police changes since I've had the Tribune. I have never seen the community and people inside and outside the department as excited and as enthusiastic about you potentially becoming chief as I have this time. So that tells me a lot about how others see you and what they think of you. And congratulations, we're proud of you. We think you'll do a great job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the honor.
Thanks, Chief.
All right.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about that grocery store in downtown Trussville. Stay with us. Maybe. You like that? Have you been to Discount Warehouse lately? New electronics, brand name makeup, and bedding arrive daily. Follow their Facebook page to find out about special sales on clothing, tools, and fireworks. Discount Warehouse, where you will never pay retail price. Welcome back, everybody. Well, let's stay with Trussville now because there was a lot of big news this week. So let's talk about the development deal that was announced this week. Right.
Yeah, the mayor and Councilman Brian Jackson did a video and talked about this week. They're looking at a proposal from a developer that would include a grocery store in the downtown area, and I guess on the Chocolate Biscuit property, or in that area. So a proposal has been brought to the city. It would include a grocery store.
And for people that don't remember the Chocolate Biscuit, it's where
Kinda
Highway
underwater,
11 intersects with Watterson Parkway over the, what do we call it? The ramp,
over the railroad.
Yeah, the bypass.
Yeah, the bypass, that's it.
Thank you.
Overpass.
Yes.
So yeah, if you're going over the overpass from Highway 11 toward the post office and look to your right,
there's a lot of property right
and
there.
Chocolate Biscuits down there in that hole, among some other things. So, and that property has been on the market for a long time. And actually, I think it adjoins the property next to it, but kind of between that piece and Captain D's. So at one point, that was going to be a
I remember that.
What do they call that?
Assisted living type,
independent living apartments.
Yeah.
So retirement apartments, essentially. And there would be a nursing home in a separate building, kind of on the same campus, and a strip mall up front that would, I think the plan was originally to have a restaurant in there, but that kitchen would also serve the nursing home, which is fine, but it kind of gave an interesting connotation to people that were like, I don't know if I want to go out to eat and have bland food. Yeah. So that never developed. But I think the property owner, and he had gotten a PUD, planned unit development, for that. I think he still owns part of the property, if not all the property. I don't really know where the real estate itself stands at this moment. But he could just kind of never get that off the ground. In the meantime, the entertainment district got started. Downtown redevelopment really took hold. And I don't know that was a great fit. And there still may be elements of that one day if he still has the property. I don't know. But it wasn't, when it was first brought to the city, we were trying to get something started downtown. If somebody wanted to turn over some dirt and start building something, I think the attitude was, well, let's get them in here and get that started. Well, since then, it's been a complete transformation. Yeah. So I don't know where that is. I don't believe the planned unit development is still in effect. I think that would all have to start over from square one at this point, because that's not, into perpetuity if you don't move on it. So we don't know the details, but a developer has come in and has proposed a grocery store, and I think it will have multiple other retail opportunities associated with it. We don't know the grocery store, and I want to point that out. We did a story yesterday mentioning that the developer, who is Blackwater,
often works with
Publix. They've done multiple projects with Publix as the anchor of the development. So that history is there. Now, that doesn't mean it couldn't be another one this time. Could very well be another one this time.
Like y'all pointed out in the story, Blackwater developed Homestead Village in Trussville that has Aldi. So, and had a grocery store fall through.
Right.
We thought
they had
were getting a fresh market.
Fresh Market fell through, and that was in the Homestead Holla. But here's the thing.
Village, yes.
We covered that. We covered that story extensively. And of course, the groceries, everybody was excited about the Fresh Market, right? But the change had nothing to do with the developer. Fresh Market was canceling
lots of stuff.
Lots of leases across the country, and they were kind of regrouping and changing their growth pattern, which they've stuck with and have done it differently. So they were paying rent. So Blackwater kind of got left holding the bag through no fault of their own, and then it took a while to get Aldi in. And we already had an Aldi, but it was one of their older ones that people weren't really enthusiastic about. But this was the new concept. I think it's done great. As I go,
it's busy.
I mean, well, look,
you drive through there. I mean, it's never not busy.
Let's remember, how many business stories we've had, and we always get a lot of feedback from the Tribune audience. Probably Hobby Lobby and Panera Bread were probably the two most requested businesses in Trussville for years. I mean, that's what we heard from Tribune readers over and over and over. So Blackwater got them in here. Those were two very sought after. As I drive through that development even today, I think that's one of our better shopping centers. So Blackwater did have some issues with that. As I said, I don't think the grocery store change had anything to do with the developer. But they had issues that every developer has as they go along. All in all, I think they're a really good developer. I also think they have the ability to build anything they want to build. They've got the know-how and the people, so I like who's in this conversation, just knowing their capabilities. But again, nothing is without any issues, but there is a record here, a track record, so to speak, with a developer who I think really improved Trussville.
You know what else would be fun to have right there?
What's that?
In downtown as a grocery? Trader Joe's.
Well, and hey, how do we know they're not talking to Trader Joe's? Right. I mean, just because
that just seems like a really cool place for kind of a specialty grocery store like that.
It could be. It could be.
We've heard Trader Joe's rumors out here like literally forever. They've never come true. But wow, that would be cool too.
It'd be cool, and there is absolutely nothing to say that it's Publix that they're talking to this time, just because they've done it in the past. We've got an example in Trussville where they brought an Aldi in, and they had been talking to Fresh Market, so Publix wasn't even in that conversation. So we don't know. We just pointed out there is a history there, but that doesn't mean that's what this will be. We'll all have to wait and see. But I do think it is a good developer that can put together a good project that we'll be proud of here in Trussville. I think there's still a lot of questions to be asked and to be answered. We're going to continue to work to get information so we can share it with the audience, because that's our job and that's what we do. But other questions are many of their development. I wouldn't say all because I haven't seen all their developments, but many of their developments are more of a strip mall format, right? Is that what we would want in the downtown overlay?
Yeah, and that like the land doesn't even necessarily lay.
Right. Well, right now all the land's underwater because it's all in the floodplain, so it's all going to have to get raised up pretty good to be effective. I did notice one of the things in all the paperwork we read would be the developer would complete the link of the greenway along Pinch Gut at the back of their property. That they're already saying we'll finish that part on the back of our property. That's a positive. And I bring up the strip mall, but remember what I said earlier. Blackwater's capable of building anything they want to build. They're not limited to, this is the only thing we know how to do. That's kind of why I'm excited about them as the developer, because no matter what the mayor and council ultimately decide on this, I think we have a developer here who is capable of delivering at almost every level. And you don't always get a developer like that. So I think that's a positive.
Well, and it's good to know that will come. Well, any development really has to come with like some traffic improvements there and another lane.
There'll have to be a turn lane in. So
Watterson and some things like that.
And that is going to become interesting because any turn lane would lead right into Watterson, which could be helpful to Watterson, but that's also a bridge. You can't move bridges, so it's got to kind of work around what's they've got ways to do it. I'm not sure how it'll happen. But this is exciting. This is a major development in the heart of downtown. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons I brought up the strip mall, because I don't think that's what we want in our downtown overlay. But again, you're dealing with a developer who can build pretty much whatever fits and whatever works. And I'm assuming a lot of this stuff has already been addressed. You know, the conversation didn't start last week.
Right.
So.
Definitely not. Okay. The other thing I wanted to talk about in this part of the show that I thought was really big news, not specifically for Trussville, but for Birmingham, but really the Birmingham area.
Huge.
And I wanted to talk about it because I don't want people to overlook what a big deal this is. Yeah. But the purchase of Birmingham Southern College campus by the U.S. government to be a Coast Guard training facility is major for Birmingham. Because like if other groups could have come in and tried to make that work for something, it continued to fail, and that's really beautiful property.
It's beautiful
but
property.
in an interesting area of Birmingham. But this really could do a lot of good there. Do you think I'm wrong about that? I think this is a big deal. It was announced yesterday. Senator Katie Britt sounds like kind of led the charge here.
Well, she's the chair of the Appropriations Committee.
I mean,
so
this is a huge deal.
This is huge. This is, in my opinion, best case scenario.
Yeah.
I
laughed out loud when they announced it because I was like, well, wow.
The speculation is that, you know, it's in the campus kind of adjoining the Inslee area. Beautiful campus. Beautiful campus.
Just a special property.
Yeah.
It sits up on the hill.
And there are challenges on that end of town, a lot of crime on that end of town, but you've also got Crossplex not far away.
Yeah.
And when you look at the neighborhoods surrounding Birmingham Southern, they're neighborhoods that have, despite everything, kind of held their own. Even College Hills, a lot of crime there, but you drive through and look at the homes, you're like, I can see how this neighborhood was gorgeous.
Absolutely.
Bush Hills on the backside where my grandparents built their first house. You could walk from their first house to the Birmingham Southern campus. Bush Boulevard, just beyond that, where my great-grandparents live, both sides. So, and all those neighborhoods are still viable, still beautiful. This is a perfect fit. I actually went to the Coast Guard's website last night and looked at their criteria for what the property would have to be able to provide, because they've been looking for a while. And as you're going through it, you're like, somebody was pretty smart to read that list and go, that's pretty close to a college campus.
Yeah, wow.
And now, and to top it off, just having all that coastline in Inslee that they could go out and train in those boats.
I did wonder about that. I was like, that's weird, but there must be a method here.
That's the part I hadn't figured out yet.
Me neither.
There will be a pool. There will be a pool on campus, so there will be some water training. Okay. But I don't think the Coast Guard are idiots, so I'm pretty sure they've got the
ocean training must be somewhere else in the country.
They've got the coastal part put together somehow.
Really
interesting. Huge win for Birmingham, huge win for that side of Birmingham. And listen, Birmingham Southern, we got a ton of Birmingham Southern grads out all over the Tribune area.
100%.
And we're heartbroken to see that school close. It would make the heartbreak even worse to see it all bulldozed. Yeah. And thank goodness that's not going to happen. You have a viable tenant going in, or they purchased the property, I should say. This actually, in my opinion, pumps a lot of life into that side of Birmingham.
I agree with you.
I'm excited for them.
Me too.
I think it's fantastic.
Huge. It was huge news.
It was.
News. So, okay, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to look at a couple of things out of Irondale. Stay with us.
I'm Drew Lawley, General Manager at Courtesy Buick GMC. Come see us at Courtesy, where we have over 300 vehicles to choose from, including GMCs, Buicks, and certified pre-owned vehicles. Come see us at Courtesy or check us out at courtesybirmingham.com. Proud supporter of our area high school teams.
If you don't have a will, trust, or some kind of estate plan, you're leaving your loved ones with a lot of headaches. Probate fees and tax issues bring stress to your family while they grieve your loss. Cahaba Law Group is here to protect them and give you reassurance that your hard-earned money and assets are not lost to bureaucratic mayhem. They can help you create the ideal estate plan. If you're currently in probate, Cahaba Law Group can help assist you there too. Plus, they can handle more than just probate. They can serve you in just about any legal matter. Begin now by scheduling a consultation at cahabalaw.net.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, we want to talk about Irondale. They had a pretty eventful meeting this week, too. So I thought, well, let's see. What do I want to talk about first? Let's talk about this first. So I thought it was interesting that they've kind of like changed their budget schedule so that even though their fiscal year started in October, they really don't like make final decisions till the end of the first quarter.
Right.
And their city council president talked about the reason for that a little bit and just how it's helpful because that money has come in and they make less mistakes is how
Right.
I interpreted
Yeah,
it.
I read it the same way.
Okay, and so I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, there's so many things happening in Irondale. I think that's an even greater reason for doing it the way they do it. Things are changing quickly there, and right on the horizon, very close horizon, this gets closer every day, everything is going to change in Irondale, including the city budget and the revenue available for that. So I think they're being very careful about how they go forward and how they move forward. They've got a lot of projects that are in the works.
Right.
They're actually, I wouldn't say in the works, they're in progress. So I think it's a very cautious approach to take. I was very disturbed, though, about the garbage price going up.
I know you're kidding.
Mayor Stewart, I would just say this. Anybody that watched what went on in Trussville probably wouldn't have touched garbage fees for about 5 years because it was like somebody set off a stick of dynamite over here.
I know, but it was, I thought it was a good example of, and a reminder that a lot of cities pay garbage fees.
That's right.
And and they made the move that was right for their city. If you read the explanation in the story from so they do theirs in-house. They don't contract it out.
Right.
And the price of moving that to the landfill had gone up and up and up.
Cost is going up.
And it did like 3 years ago, basically. And now they're having to come back and say, okay, we've finally got to like come up $3 a family.
Right.
So.
And I say it all the time. We cover 9 cities. The number one complaint across all 9 cities is garbage. It's either not being picked up or it's too expensive or it's always, and it's just ongoing. And I also would say a little grace to the sanitation folks that pick it up. They're struggling to get the people hired that they need to get hired. They're struggling with gas prices up, those are coming down. That's going to be helpful in something like this that uses a lot of gasoline, a lot of fuel. So as those prices continue to come down, that'll help a little bit, but none of this is going backwards. Yeah. It's just going to get more expensive.
Well, I did that get a lot of, I didn't look to see what the comments were
I didn't know. I was so exhausted with garbage comments from 6 months ago. I'm
they did
allergic
it, so
to it now.
it's done. It's a done deal. And that seems like a reasonable increase.
Right.
For him.
It actually is very reasonable.
$3 a month.
I kid because it was just a wildfire when it was even mentioned here that Trussville may start asking residents to pay for their own pickup.
It just went crazy.
It went nuts. So any surrounding city that treaded on that ground, I feel for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
What they've gone through.
Well, the other thing that I wanted to mention too that I thought was interesting was there was a lot of conversation this summer during the election season about the debt that Irondale is carrying, doing all the projects that they're doing. But one of the things that they did here too was that it shows their $38.8 million projected budget with a $1.7 million surplus for the fiscal year. But that includes they are starting to put away money monthly in this, what do they call it, I think they called it a sinking fund, where they'll put that money that they'll pay for their repaying debt to do the different things they've done. annually, but they're putting away that money into this fund monthly, so it's already there. And anyway, I just thought all that was interesting.
Yeah, this is what we've been saying about James Stewart since he became mayor over there. He understands what he's doing. He understands how the city works. We've talked about the experience he had as city clerk before he became mayor.
Right.
This is where it's paying off for the city.
Yeah.
He's got a vision based on facts of how a city is supposed to operate, and he's able to execute that. Probably the most prepared mayor in our coverage area when he first went into office because of his experience, and it continues to show itself. Listen, the other thing is being patient and giving time for Costco to get developed and get open. A lot of cities would be tempted to start dipping into a bucket. In other words, start counting the chickens before the eggs hatch. They're not doing that. They're letting everything take its natural course. They're staying with what they've got and building properly. They're concerned about taking care of that debt, which if you take out the debt, you got to be concerned about paying it off. So the plan is in place for everything, which is kind of what we've been saying about this mayor for years now, and just more evidence that he and the council are ahead of the curve.
Yeah, absolutely. And then lastly, in Irondale, I thought this was fun and wanted to make people aware of it because there's plenty of time left, but they are having a student art competition for their SRO vehicle. And all the information you need is in the story at TrussvilleTribune.com. You can see the flyer that they've included with the story right there. But they're asking students, it kind of gives some, they want an original design that will ultimately be a vinyl wrap on the SRO vehicle, but they want you to put out that design on an 11 by 17 piece of paper or digitally and turn it into the SRO. And so really they've given people, the freedom to be as creative as they want to be, but they want it to be original.
It's a lot of criteria.
They want it to be, show school pride and things like that. But I thought that was a really fun opportunity students in that area need to be aware of.
It will, and I'm sure we'll get copies of the winners here in the Tribune, and we're looking forward to sharing that. That'll be fantastic. But that is fun. That keeps your kids involved with the community, especially connecting with SROs, which, building that relationship with kids is a big part of the reason they're in the school. So it's kind of dovetailing everything.
So the art is due, again, Friday, March 20th.
Right.
And so it'll be fun to see the result of that when that finishes. So anyway. All right, well, that's everything we have for today.
It was a good day, and it was a busy day. I thought I had something on my mind. Oh, I was going to mention Arbor Day. I went by.
Oh, okay.
Saturday morning, we did a Facebook Live from there. The turnout was fantastic. You guys just showed up from everywhere, grabbing trees and planting trees. I don't know how many. I haven't talked to Ralph since it wrapped up. I'd like to know how many they ultimately gave away.
Oh, wow.
But there was no shortage of takers.
Okay.
I can tell you that. Good crowd.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Good news. All right, well, we hope everybody has a wonderful rest of the week and weekend. We'll be back next week.